Hello, gang. So, trying out some new hardware with the phone here. We'll see how it works. So, just left Larry's place. You know, I'm a big car guy. Spent my whole life in the automotive business. Why am I telling you that? Because I missed my calling as a car reviewer after being involved in repairing them for 20 years and doing some motorsports, that kind of thing. So now I criticize car washes, and people take it a lot more personal because it's not just some corporation. You're actually criticizing someone's pride and joy. And I could say, honestly, there's not much to criticize with Larry's Wash. I do feel his signage could be better out front. I did not see the car wash sign. It says wash and go or something. It's invisible to me because there's too much on the sign. Also, I'm not a big fan of electric signs, of the digital signs. People usually have too much stuff scrolling when we're busy driving. We just turn it off. It's just distraction. We only see what pops. So the one thing I would consider is just a giant car wash sign if you get zoned for it. Every city, every county, everything's different to get zoned. So may or may not be able to do that. Maybe a slightly simpler menu and top wash at 2.5 minutes to 3.5. Again, minor things. He's obviously outrageously successful. First year grew his wash 25 to 30% or more, just from going from a conveyorized tunnel to a single in-bay automatic, high performance. Those are the basics. To give you more context on why all the washes should be at about 2.5 minute range, I would say 1:50 to 2.5 is because I get the phone calls year 1, 2, 3, where Jason, I fit capacity. Say Larry, he might call me a year from now because he's doing outrageous numbers his first year. Hey, I can't get any more cars out of here. And then, here's how you get more cars out is you take your top wash instead of 3.5 minutes at 6 passes, about 2.5 minutes at 4 passes with his specific machine. And that's why so many people rehab and make this, again, this is a slight adjustment. I don't know if you would call it a mistake. I prefer when you rehab a wash, depending on the machine, you need to use the right chemicals so you can cut out some passes because you're using the right chemicals. Again, a modern polymer chemical typically compared to old conventional chemicals. There are some tricks that can be had there. I'm not just saying that. There's genuine tricks to speed up your wash doing that. 2, make your menu much simpler so people are okay at getting out in 2.5 minutes. And then 3, setting up your passes right so you can get out 2.5. You can't do that with all machines. I totally get it. I know that, everybody watching. But you can speed up more machines than you think. It's not just 1 or 2 companies. I haven't helped just a couple people out. Car wash owners, it depends on their machine, but all of them have been able to be helped out because all of them have been able to lean out their menu and wash faster. So that's an adjustment where if you're rehabbing a wash, keep them all as fast as you can go. It's a conversation for consulting. Won't get into all the details here. And again, I'm saying that for those who are rehabbing or going to rehab a wash because it may not mean much now, but year 2, 3, 4, it's way harder to take something away from customers. It's actually not that hard, but it is harder than them never having it, right? So if your wash was always 2.5 or 1:50 to 2:30, it could be that way for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Where if you have one wash that's 3:50 or 3:30, and then your wash hit capacity, you need to take it down to 2:20, well then you're taking something away, right? That's what I'm trying to tell you. Just start off as fast as you can go. Another tidbit, I didn't see him there, but I just texted Larry, and he doesn't have any vacuums. So even with no vacuums, he's doing outrageous numbers in a rural area, moderate traffic count, not high population, another wash right down the road. By the way, the wash down the road, I sat there across the street. I got something to eat across the street from the wash down the road. In fact, right beside, not across the street. When I left, we'll pull up the drone footage. When I left, Larry had, 8 cars in line, something like that. I spent a half hour at his competitor because I was sitting right next to it at the restaurant. And they washed 5 cars while I was there. Washed 5 cars. There was at one point there was 3 at the location. When I left, there was no one else there. Same time of day, middle of the afternoon. I know it's normally a light time, but the point is, people like Larry's wash a lot better. And again, the place down the street was touchless. So apples to apples there. What's Larry doing different? Obviously faster, and the cars are probably cleaner. because of some of his tactics, some of the chemicals on the machine. He has a beautiful sign, so it looks more modern. The tunnels have trained people what a modern wash should look like, so his wash looks way more modern than the one down the street. I will say the one down the street, that brand, the one that was down the street from him is the best of that brand I've ever seen. It's a very popular brand. There's a lot of them around the country. It is also a clean wash and better signage and decent machines. It's the cleanest and brightest and best of that brand I've ever seen, and Larry's still smoking it. One more thing I forgot to mention about comparing the double bay down the road compared to Larry's single bay, and how Larry's probably washing 5 times as many cars with one bay compared to the one with double, is Larry's prices are $2 to $3 higher per wash. So he's $2 to $3 higher per wash, washing 4 to 5 times as many cars out of one bay compared to 2. That's absolutely worth noting. And this begs the question. One reason I really want to come out here, I know one other close colleague, one of my clients who's running a wash at a gas station convenience store and doing outrageous numbers. Why haven't the convenience stores and the gas stations hopped on board of this? Why aren't they asking the right questions? What questions are they not asking? What don't they understand about the customer? Same with car dealerships. So, car dealerships, you buy a $60,000, $80,000, $120,000 SUV, and their car wash equipment costs less than the SUV. They buy typically the oldest, not the oldest. They typically buy the cheapest, Scratch-O-Matic, really cheap car wash equipment. It's pretty hilarious. Dealerships have no idea what they're doing. A few do. A few have added some tunnels or doing different things. But what if you had a beautiful long bay like that and you could wash 50, 30, 50, 60,000 cars a year, give them 5% off like parts and service. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Why would you do that? Well, that 30 to 50 to 60,000 cars a year, or if you have a double or triple bay, that 70 to 150,000 cars a year are not just driving by your location, they're at your location. They are in your parking lot. And you can line up new cars, used cars, and you can have an extra 30 to 150,000 people going by all those fancy cars every single day in your parking lot, already in the parking lot, and getting paid monthly by them. So you have them loyal at your location. How else could you market to them when you have all their information as well? Dealerships. What if service, parts, F&I, and sales all work together to get everybody in the area on a car wash? Well, I'll tell you right now, it's probably never going to happen because they don't know how to work together. That's typical Western car dealership culture. They have no clue how to work together. I know I'm ranting, but it's something I was in a long time, and I never in a million years dreamed the car business could get worse, and it's only gotten worse. It's a terrible business. And you get what you incentivize, and all those managers of all those different little pockets in the car dealership get incentivized differently, so they're all working against each other, and they don't. It's pretty comical, actually, if anyone would ever step back and rethink of how dealerships would work. But yeah, in general, dealerships don't have any idea about how much money they can make, how much people they could keep on site, have visit their site once a week or so. And then to me, the biggest missed opportunity, probably globally in car washing. So you could be in Southeast Asia, Australia, Canada, globally, from what I know, and I don't know everything globally, but I do have a lot of people reach out to me from across the world about car washing. And in most cases, a lot of it is at a petrol station, at a gas station, at a C-store. That's where the car washes are. That's where they're already zoned. So they're missing opportunity because they just are not, again, asking the right questions. How can we make something modern like Larry has? Why is this guy, this random guy, he's not a random guy, Larry, if you're watching, but you get my point. How's this guy in a small rural town doing better than 99.9% of the car washes at gas stations? Why is that? I know why. You're gonna have to call me to find out. Again, it's comical. The budgets these organizations have, well, there's a couple things. First of all, red tape, right? These big organizations have a lot of red tape. They've done things for so many years, it's hard for them to believe there's a completely different way of doing something. They have to get approvals for this, approvals for that. They're not nimble at all. Part of the problem. Problem number two, they have relationships. Relationships could be sticky in good ways and bad ways. So they've committed to a certain installer, a certain piece of machinery. We already have 100 of these machines out there. If we could go with something new, why would we do that? We have all the parts and everything. Okay, well, maybe this other machine could wash 200% more cars and have, 1/10 of the maintenance. Maybe, maybe not. Depends what you're doing. And there are a couple good modern machines out there. There's not just one. There's more than one. I would say there's 3 to 5 decent machines out there. Next is the relationship with the installer. That's a big one. I'll talk more about that in a minute. But to touch on it with a C-store space, again, they have installers, or they have their maintenance guy that's installed, and again, 50 of whatever machine they're using. So there's so many reasons these gas station convenience stores are stuck in their ways. A lot of it can be they were taught from car wash people 10, 15 years ago. And they're still, these gas stations and C-stores are stuck in blockbuster mentality. And they think they can only make so much from a blockbuster. We've moved on, folks. Netflix, Amazon Prime. That's what Larry's running. He's running Netflix. And all these gas station and C-stores are running Blockbuster, Family Video. They don't have a clue how to modernize. Again, red tape, stuck in their ways. And while I'm saying there's several ingredients to best practice, Larry just happened to get 90% of them, okay? So it's stacking, it's flow, it's pay station, machine, chemical, menu, the right installer. He got a lot of that right, which goes back to the installer thing. It's a very tough thing to talk about because the installer competence ranges wildly, okay? So that even matters for which machine you should buy. So there may be a machine that's slightly better than another, or you might get a better value on one, but it depends on your installer. It may be better to go with a machine that can do 20% less volume, but the installers are really good in your area compared to machine B or C. How do you judge a good installer? I do not. I've been rattling around how to communicate that for a long time, and I don't know, and I do not know an easy way to communicate that. It's just really experience. I happen to be in a position where I know installers all across the world, and even I don't know until they get a machine or 2 or 3 in the ground, or 20 or 100, and you talk to some of their customers. So being on the consulting side, I typically talk to customers before they install and after they install. And that has a lot to do with me on the consulting side, because sometimes installers are going to give resistance to the business model, the business practice I'm teaching, because they've done it for 30 years. When you have people like Larry, like my clients, who may not have as much experience, but they're doing 200, 300, 500% more volume than your typical in-bay across the country, he hit a home run with the installer. So when it comes to installers, best thing I could say, reach out to me. Depends where you're at in the country. You know, if you're in Chicago, Texas, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Detroit, I know installers that are the best in the land. You know, Oklahoma, Michigan, it depends where you're at. I may or may not know installers, and I may be able to rate them. It just depends. Some I have a lot of some I have complete confidence in. I would still need to guide you on best practice a little bit, because again, there's a little bit different philosophy sometimes, but the installation and most of best practice I'll have down. Some installers, the confidence is medium, and some installers, confidence is very poor. I would maybe even encourage you to stay away. And I don't know all of them. I'm not trying to explain that I do. There may be places in the country where I have no idea who the best installer is. And I've also run into installers that have no experience with this model, but they're teachable. And between them and the owner, it can knock it out of the park. But if they know it all and are resistant, that's when I have the toughest time, and the customer has the toughest time getting a good product out. So again, it varies greatly. And I touched on it when I was talking to Larry, but I do want to say every single location has a lot of nuance. And that is just the reality. There is best practice. I talk about it all the time, most of it publicly here. But when it comes to looking for locations, whether to build or to buy, as well as rehabbing locations that you currently have, it's a ton of nuance. And it's definitely best to reach out to me before you spend a penny on a location. Because as you heard me say to Larry, and he knows it, how much land do I need? That's not really the right question to ask, because how congested is your area? How much competition is there? There's just a million questions. And it's still a giant variable. There's so many ways it can go, even if you have a great location or even if you have a bad location. And a site like Larry's is a good example of a B-C location that's doing A++ numbers. And there's still a fair amount of those across the country, especially the Midwest, but across the country in general, where you have a wash. You may have to change everything at the location, but it's already zoned for a wash. And you can speed things up because it's already zoned as a car wash. For those of you who are not experienced in car washing, is typically the number one barrier of entry is getting all the permits. Will gas station C-stores and dealerships ever catch on? Some will. Some will eventually. But in the meantime, there's still a lot of opportunity out there for the smaller guys who want to buy a wash. And another thing about location is Larry is 3 hours from his installer, from his maintenance guy. Okay, now Larry's hands-on. This is his only job, it looks like. So he can fix things, he can maintain things. And the gas station C-stores may be asking, well, does my installer have to be super close? It does depend on how good the actual installation is. When you do everything right in installation, the next 15, 20 years can be pretty easy, especially if you maintain it properly. It's way easier to maintain than repair. But again, don't get a great install or get an 80% install, then yeah, someone being 3 hours away might be real trouble. You might have to train yourself. But this stuff's all workable. That's another reason why I say this whole business is a giant variable. There are definitely best practices. There are definitely things you can do right when it comes to locations, setup, menu, but you have to do your homework. The irony is, a lot of gas station C-stores, they don't know it, but they've already done the most expensive parts right. Not all of them, but a lot of them have the proper stacking and a few other things right. They just did everything else wrong. The menu, the speed, the chemicals, some of the equipment they use. Again, it's fairly comical. And for all the C-store executives watching, which is probably zero, I apologize. I'm not here to insult. I'm just a person who's driven by optimization and success. And that leads me to be really happy and motivated when I see these small guys do these crazy numbers. And I can be just as happy and motivated to see big guys do big numbers as well, if you would apply best practice. It's just at this point in time, most aren't doing that. That's where the opportunity is. So because there's very few executives watching this, again, all of you independent operators out there, the C-store space is something to consider. Well, Jason, I don't own a C-store. Yes, but believe it or not, you might be able to lease that piece of junk car wash at XY C-store gas station. If everything else is right, you might be able to make a play on it. $1,500 a month, $2,500 a month, who knows? Depends on where you're at. $500,000 for a rehab, boom, 30,000 plus cars a year. What I'm saying is, I know it's not always that easy to get a lease, but they are out there, and it's worth looking at how you might be able to be a part of a car wash franchise, which I have some connections to, or just do your own gig, be a part of a car wash franchise where they know all the ins and outs and all the secret sauce. You can just back it or do your own thing and learn all the secret sauce yourself. And that gas station can do their thing and you can do your thing. Again, there's pros and cons to that, but that play is out there. It is available. Not everywhere, but it's worth at least researching. That's all for now. Thank you for your time. Let me know if you like these little mini car wash tours interviews. This is something I could probably do a lot more of. I have a lot of connections. Tell me what you want to see, what you don't want to see. Your time is the most valuable thing you own. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
Pulled in on fumes, sticker says shine like new. Big red brush, shade my mirror, left me soap and streaks and fumes. A neon sign screams premium clean, spinning noodles slap my paint. Tire shine all on my windows, whole ride smells like cheap cologne. And hey, gas station car wash, worst in the land. Take my cash, leave a dirt handprint. You're a disgrace to the whole damn game. Just throw in the towel, walk away in shame. Car wash, worst in the land. Hope that can pay your bill, just jams. You're a disgrace to the whole damn game. Just give it up, just give it up. Tunnel of doom, rust rails, busted light. Guy inside scrolling his phone says it's fine, man, looks alright. Bug still caked on the grill, bird mess laughing on my hood. Vacuum wheezes like it's dying. Only thing that's strong is the upsell pitch, not the suds. Gas station car wash, worst in the land. Take my cash, leave a dirt handprint. You're a disgrace to the whole damn game. Just throw in the towel, walk away in shame. Car wash, worst in the land. Hope that can pay your bill, just jams. You're a disgrace to the whole damn game. Just give it up, just give it up. Phone gun dribbling, brushes barely spin. Miss ain't washing, it's a lazy river. station car wash.